I saw you earlier, actually.
Yeah.
You were walking him.
I know, we were walking. Exactly right. Hey, this is Steve Miller, better known as Kelly's dad, marketing gunslinger. Look at that. Look at my hair. My hair really sucks right now. Okay, but that's because I'm old. All right, this is Emily
Yep.
and
Jordan.
Jordan. Take a look at those faces. Those fresh-faced kids whose lives are, so much in front of them. They've got so much to go on and so much to live for, and here they are out doing something to help them support their current dreams. I mean, it was pretty exciting. It was Sunday afternoon when they knocked on my door and offered to paint our house number on the curb, which I was happy to have them do, of course, because I'd seen them out doing it before. And I just love to run into kids like them, actually just into people like them who are taking their responsibility, taking their own their own lives in their own hands and going out and doing something about it themselves. And I could see that there were a lot of houses on our block and a couple of other blocks away that had also taken them up on their offer. It was only like $15 to do that. But you think about that. Here are two kids who are just working their way around the country to visit the country. Jordan and Emily. Jordan's from Victorville, California. Emily said she was from up here in the Pacific Northwest. Sorry, Emily, I don't remember exactly where you said you were from, but there's some really great lessons for us to learn from Jordan and Emily here. And very, very quickly, I could think of 4 things that we as business people of all ages learn from them, or even just we as people can learn from them. Number 1 is, and let's talk about it strictly from a business perspective, and that is that obviously knocking on the door, they're selling something, which means that they have to ask for the order. So there are 2 things, or I should say there are 2 things happening here. First of all, was that they had the guts to walk up and knock on a door and cold call on doors. And, that's something that I think salespeople have a very difficult time doing. I'll say this, about my smoking hot wife, Kay, that makes her a world-class salesperson, and that is her number 1 skill as a salesperson, is to be able to go out and without any type of concern for herself or fear or anything, she can go out and knock on doors, cold call. And from a salesperson's perspective, if you can do that, that's huge. That makes a huge difference in the results that you're going to have at any time. If you're able to approach a stranger and open up a conversation with them and determine whether they're qualified to fit the profile of your target market, and then ultimately build that relationship with them, that's a huge skill to be able to have. So being able to knock on the door of a prospect is huge. And if you are able to do that, lesson number 2, number 1, knock on the door. Number 2, lesson number 2 is you will always have a job. If you can do that and you can sell, you will always have a job for the rest of your life. And the third point is that you have to ask for the order, right? Call to action. And I'm going to relate this to marketing, which is something that I'm always talking about with my clients, is when you are doing any type of marketing, make sure that everything has a call to action. Make sure that everything is asking people to do something. I'm not necessarily talking about asking for the order every step of the way, but you are asking them to go to take the next step in the relationship building process. Call to action. Too often I see marketing, advertising examples from very often big companies, and too often small companies that are simply awareness building or institutional advertising techniques. And just stop doing that. Just stop it. Stop it. It's not helping you. You have no idea how to measure your ROI. If you don't have a call to action, you will never be able to measure ROI. And the call to action has to be meaningful. So of course, in their cases, as salespeople, Jordan and Emily were asking for the order. Would you like us to, paint this your house numbers on the curb for you? And yes or no. And if the answer is no, bang. Next. move on to the next house. So, and number 4 is that people can always make some money. So you got to think about this. Think about people that who are lazy, who don't have, and I'm not talking about just kids. People who are, sometimes people standing on a corner. They're healthy. They can go out and they can go over to they can get a little bit of a few bucks. They can go over, buy some stencils, get some spray paint, and bang, they're in business, and all they have to do is go out and knock on some doors. And finally, the last thing is that I often hear that, in fact, I heard this from a woman last week ranting about it in our local pub, that millennials are lazy. And you know what? Millennials aren't lazy. Some people are lazy. Okay, some people are lazy, and it goes all the way across the spectrum. So, like I said, look at Jordan and Emily. They are great examples of great kids. I predict that they have bright futures. They're going to go out. They're going to have a great time traveling in the U.S. And all along the way, anytime they need some extra money, all they got to do is get out their backpacks with the stencils and the spray paint and just start knocking on doors. They'll make some extra money, for a hotel or meals or gas or whatever it is that they need. Terrific examples. I was very excited. I'm very honored to have met them, and I'm very happy to be able to talk about them this morning. So that's it for this week. Hey, listen, a shout out to everybody to help me name this thing. I said a couple of weeks ago that I don't have a name for this weekly video yet, and I did have one. I did have, Shane Zeppelin came up with one for me. Shane, thanks very much for that, and others of you that can think of a name for my weekly program here, I will figure out some kind of a reward for the person who, if I use yours, and it'll be something nice. So that's it for this week. This is Steve Miller, better known as Kelly's dad. If you like what you hear, please share this. Please put it on. Please comment about it. Share it with your friends. Tell people about it and help me spread the love. Thanks again for joining me this week, and I will see you next week. Don't forget, always be uncopyable.